Imagine standing at the edge of a room full of strangers. Your heart pounds, your palms sweat, your mind screams at you to turn around, to leave, to stay silent and safe. You know what you should do. You know what you want to say, but something invisible holds you back, like an iron chain wrapped around your chest. The ancient Stoics had a name for this invisible prison, the tyranny of fear. And 2,000 years ago, they discovered something revolutionary. The person who hesitates, who shrinks, who holds back, isn't protecting themselves. They're enslaving themselves. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how the Stoics conquered shyness and hesitation, not through motivational speeches or fake confidence tricks, but through a radical shift in how they understood fear itself. This isn't theory. This is the same system that turned a stammering slave named Epictetus into one of history's greatest teachers. The same philosophy that gave Marcus Aurelius, a naturally anxious introvert, the courage to lead an empire. Let's discover how they did it, and how you can too. Here's what most people get wrong about shyness. They think it's about lacking confidence. But the Stoics saw something deeper. Shyness isn't a personality trait. It's a judgment error. When you hesitate to speak, when you hold back from approaching someone, when you stay silent even though you have something to contribute, what's really happening? Epictetus explained it perfectly. We are not disturbed by things, but by the views we take of them. You're not afraid of the conversation. You're afraid of your judgment about what might happen in the conversation. You're not nervous about speaking up. You're terrified of your mental image of rejection, embarrassment, or judgment. The Stoics noticed that shy people live in a catastrophic fantasy. Before you even speak, your mind has already written a horror story. I'll say something stupid. Everyone will laugh. They'll think I'm awkward. I'll be humiliated. I'll never recover. But here's the Stoic question that changes everything. Has this actually happened? Or is it just a story you're telling yourself? Marcus Aurelius, who led Rome but struggled with social anxiety, wrote in his private journal, "Frightened of change? But what can exist without it? You are looking at things in the wrong way. The fear you feel isn't protecting you from reality. It's protecting you from a phantom, a story that exists only in your imagination." The Stoics divided everything into two categories, things within your control and things outside your control. And here's the liberating truth. Almost everything you fear about social situations is outside your control. You cannot control whether people like you. You cannot control whether they judge you. You cannot control their facial expressions, their thoughts, or their opinions. But you can control whether you speak with honesty, whether you act with courage, whether you express yourself authentically, whether you try, regardless of outcome. The moment you stop trying to control others' opinions is the moment shyness begins to lose its power. Now let me share 7 powerful Stoic techniques that will transform how you handle fear and hesitation. Technique number 1, Premeditatio Malorum, or negative visualization. This sounds counterintuitive, but it's brutally effective. The Stoics practiced imagining the worst possible outcome, not to scare themselves, but to strip fear of its power. Before a social situation, ask yourself, what's the absolute worst that could happen? You speak and someone doesn't respond. You'll survive. Someone disagrees with you. You'll learn something. You stumble over your words. Join the human race. Seneca practiced this daily. The man who has anticipated the coming of troubles takes away their power when they arrive. When you confront your fears explicitly, they shrink from monsters to manageable challenges. Here's your exercise. Write down the worst-case scenario. Be specific. Then write, "and I would handle it by." Most fears evaporate under examination. Technique number 2, the view from above. Marcus Aurelius used this technique when social pressure became overwhelming. Imagine zooming out from your situation. See yourself from above. Then zoom out further. See your city, your country, the earth, the solar system. In 100 years, will this conversation matter? In the vast scope of existence, does this moment of hesitation hold any real weight? This isn't about making your life meaningless. It's about right-sizing your fears. Marcus wrote, "The universe is change. Life is opinion. Your embarrassment is a temporary ripple in an infinite ocean. Before entering a situation that makes you shy, spend 60 seconds visualizing it from cosmic perspective. Watch how significance shifts. Technique number 3, voluntary discomfort. The Stoics deliberately put themselves in uncomfortable situations to build tolerance. Seneca would periodically dress in simple clothes and sleep on hard floors, not to punish himself, but to prove he could handle discomfort. For shyness, this means intentionally expose yourself to small social fears. Start tiny. Make eye contact with strangers. Say good morning to people you pass. Ask a question in a coffee shop. Share one opinion in a group setting. Each small act of courage builds your capacity for bigger ones. Epictetus taught, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. The shy person's greatest fear is looking foolish. But what if you deliberately became okay with looking foolish? What power would fear have then? Technique number 4, the discipline of assent. This is advanced Stoic practice, but incredibly powerful for hesitation. Between a trigger, a social situation, and your response, hesitation or shyness, there's a gap. In that gap, you give or withhold assent, agreement to the fearful thought. Here's how it works. Situation, you want to speak up in a meeting. First thought, I shouldn't say this. They'll judge me. The gap, this is where most people automatically agree with the fear. Stoic practice, observe the thought without assenting to it. I notice I'm having the thought that I'll be judged, but I don't have to believe this thought. I can choose a different response. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Label your fears. That's my anxiety talking. That's my catastrophic thinking. That's old programming. Observation creates distance. Distance creates choice. Technique number 5, Amor Fati, or love your fate. The Stoics didn't just accept discomfort, they loved it. Every moment of shyness, every instance of hesitation, is an opportunity to practice courage. Instead of thinking, why do I have to feel this way? Think, this is my training ground. Every awkward conversation is practicing authenticity. Every moment of social fear is an opportunity to choose courage over comfort. Epictetus said, don't seek for everything to happen as you wish, but wish for everything to happen as it actually does happen, and your life will be serene. What if your shyness isn't a curse but a curriculum? What if every social challenge is exactly what you need to become who you want to be? Technique number 6, focus on virtue, not outcome. Shy people obsess over outcomes. Will they like me? Will I sound smart? Will this go well? The Stoics focused on virtue. Am I acting with courage? Am I being authentic? Am I expressing my truth? The shift is subtle but revolutionary. You can't control whether people like you, but you can control whether you act with integrity. Marcus Aurelius asked himself daily, did I act with justice, courage, temperance, and wisdom? Notice what's missing, other people's approval. Before any social interaction, ask, am I being honest? Am I being courageous? Am I being kind? If yes to all 3, you've succeeded, regardless of how others respond. Technique number 7, morning and evening reflection. The Stoics bookended each day with structured reflection. Morning practice, 5 minutes. Today I will encounter situations that trigger my shyness. When I feel hesitation, I will remember, this feeling is not danger. This feeling is growth. I will speak when I have something to say. I will act despite discomfort. I will not let fear decide my actions. Evening practice, 5 minutes. Where did I let hesitation control me today? What would courage have looked like? Tomorrow, I'll do better. Where did I act despite fear? I acknowledge this victory. Seneca practiced this religiously. When the light has been removed and my wife has fallen silent, I examine my entire day and go back over what I've done and said, hiding nothing from myself, passing nothing by. This isn't self-judgment, it's self-improvement through honest observation. Now let me show you how to build your confidence system using these Stoic principles. The Stoics didn't believe in waiting for confidence to arrive. They built it systematically through daily practice. The morning ritual takes 10 minutes. First, Premeditatio Malorum for 3 minutes. Visualize today's challenging social situations. Imagine worst outcomes. Realize you'll survive them all. Second, set your intention for 2 minutes. Today I will practice courage in small ways. I will not let hesitation steal my voice. Third, philosophical reminder for 5 minutes. Read one passage from Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, or Seneca. Let ancient wisdom anchor your mind. Throughout the day, use the 3-second rule. When you feel the urge to speak or act, count to 3 and do it. Don't give hesitation time to build its case. Practice observation. Notice when shyness arises. Label it. There's that old fear pattern. Don't fight it. Observe it. Act anyway. Set micro-courage challenges. 1 small challenge per day. Make 1 comment, ask 1 question, initiate 1 conversation. The evening review takes 5 minutes. Journal these 3 questions. Where did I choose courage over comfort today? Where did hesitation win, and what will I do differently tomorrow? What did I learn about my fear patterns? Here's your transformation timeline. Week 1, you'll feel awkward but aware. Week 2 to 4, small victories start accumulating. Month 2 to 3, new patterns begin forming. Month 6, you'll look back and barely recognize your old self. This isn't instant, but it's inevitable if you practice consistently. Let me give you real-world applications for common scenarios. Scenario 1, speaking up in groups. Old pattern. You have an idea. You rehearse it mentally. You wait for the perfect moment. By the time you're ready, the conversation has moved on. You stay silent. You feel frustrated. Stoic approach. Recognize the hesitation thought. I need to say this perfectly. Apply dichotomy of control. You control your words, not their reception. Use the 3-second rule. Idea, 3 seconds. Speak. Focus on virtue. Am I contributing honestly? Not will they think I'm smart? Phrase to remember. I have a thought on this, then speak. No need for perfection. Scenario 2, meeting new people. Old pattern. You see someone you'd like to talk to. Your mind floods with reasons not to approach. They look busy. They probably don't want to talk. I wouldn't know what to say. You avoid. You regret. Stoic approach. Negative visualization. Worst case. They're not interested in talking. And then what? Nothing happens. I continue existing. View from above. In the grand scope of my life, will this 10-second interaction matter tomorrow? Amor Fati. This discomfort is exactly the practice I need. Action. Hi, I'm your name. That's it. Let the conversation unfold naturally. Remember, every master of conversation started with 1 awkward hello. Scenario 3, sharing your opinion when it differs. Old pattern. Everyone agrees on something. You see it differently. You stay quiet to avoid conflict or judgment. Later, you wish you'd spoken. Stoic approach. Recognize people-pleasing is not a virtue. Authenticity is. Marcus Aurelius said, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Speak from principle. I see it differently because, not you're wrong, but except some will disagree. This is not failure. This is honest discourse. Phrase to remember. I have a different perspective. Own your viewpoint calmly. Scenario 4. Handling rejection or negative response. Old pattern. Someone responds negatively to something you said. Your face burns. You spiral into shame. You vow never to speak up again. Stoic approach. Epictetus taught, if someone treats you poorly, remember that they are acting from their own impression of what's right. Their response is their response, outside your control. Your dignity is your choice, within your control. Respond, I appreciate your perspective, or simply move on without reaction. Remember, the Stoics were insulted, dismissed, and exiled. They remained unmoved because they knew their worth wasn't determined by others' opinions. Here's what the Stoics understood that most people miss. Shyness isn't a personality flaw, it's a habit of thought, and habits can be changed. You weren't born hesitant, you learned hesitation as a protection mechanism. But what once protected you now imprisons you. The good news? Every cage built by the mind can be dismantled by the mind. Epictetus, who knew more about freedom than anyone because he lived most of his life in chains, said something profound. First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Not wait until you feel ready. Not hope confidence arrives someday. But decide who you are, then act accordingly. You are not a shy person. You are a person who has practiced shyness. Now it's time to practice courage. Here's your challenge. For the next 30 days, practice one Stoic technique from this video every single day. Keep a journal. Track your micro-victories. Notice your growth. In 30 days, you won't be a different person. You'll be yourself, finally unchained. Marcus Aurelius spent every day reminding himself of these principles, and he led an empire. You're using them to find your voice, speak your truth, and live without the chains of hesitation. That's not a small thing. That's everything. As Seneca wrote, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Stop suffering in imagination. Start living in reality. The conversation you're avoiding, have it. The introduction you're postponing, make it. The opinion you're holding back, share it. Your voice matters. Your presence matters. Your authentic self matters. The Stoics believed courage wasn't the absence of fear. It was action in the presence of fear. So feel the fear, notice the hesitation, and speak anyway. That's how you become free. How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself? The answer is no longer. If this resonated with you, subscribe to Stoic Verse for more ancient wisdom to guide your journey toward courage, confidence, and authentic living. Your transformation starts now.